welcome to week 9 of Keefer's Corner. Coach Keefer, how are you doing today?
Doing great.
So we get to talk about a winning streak. We're on a streak, two wins after beating Central, obviously homecoming, then going to Amery and getting a win last Friday night.
Yep. Modest winning streak. Hopefully we can extend that to 3.
So
coming Friday.
What are some of the things that stick out to you after Friday night's game?
You know, I was really I thought I was very proud of our kids. We played hard, played well. We started the game fast, which is one of the things that we wanted to do. We scored on our first 2 possessions, which that put us in a good position. Amery got a little momentum going. They ran the ball pretty effectively. We had some things that we did tighten up, I felt, a little bit at halftime. But they had a lot of momentum. It was 20-17. Keegan Oftsy went down with an injury, late in the second quarter, and he's obviously one of our best players. And I really felt like it was a case where the young guys that were on the field, they had to raise their level of play, and I really felt like we did in that second half. Allowing 1 score, that was a pretty significant deal. I felt really good about the effort. I thought guys played really hard.
It felt like coming out of halftime, Amery gets the ball with a chance to take the lead.
Right. We
get that quick stop.
Yes.
Like that to me kind of felt like, all right, we're back in control of things.
Right.
And I don't think we did much on that next possession. But really, to me, that was kind of the turning point when they came out and couldn't do anything. I think they had a penalty, which they were kind of snake-bit by penalties quite often. And then rolled into the fourth quarter, I thought, hey, this feels better. The one guy that stuck out to me offensively, well, maybe one of guys, was Sam Hush.
Sam had a really, really good game. I think he carried for 68 yards. I think he had 9 carries, and then caught some passes, had a touchdown, and maybe 2 touchdown passes.
Yep.
And Sam really did play well. He's had a really nice year.
Yep. And I think another play that stuck out to me offensively in the second half was, I think it was 3rd and 7, 3rd or 8. Wyatt Larson catches the ball.
It's a great play.
On your sideline, short of the sticks.
Just short.
And it wasn't going to go down.
Just kept grinding. And, they held him up, and his initial thing was close to the line, close to the line to gain. Then he got pushed back, and he just kept scrapping, and then he just, spectacular effort, lurches backwards and clearly gets a first down. That was a big play, and it fired our guys up.
And I believe we scored. That might have been the drive that Wyatt ended up throwing the touchdown to Sam.
I believe that is correct.
That to me felt like a play that we talk about 3 or 4 plays that swing the game. That was one of those plays.
That was a huge play. That was a big play, no doubt about that.
Defensively, we weren't as successful at stopping the rush.
Correct.
Who were some guys that stuck out to you that played well defensively?
Eli Cooney played a terrific game. He was in on, for a defensive lineman to be in on 10 tackles, that's very impressive. Now I think he had 3 sacks. One was kind of a gift, but we'll take it. I thought he played very, very well. I felt like Wyatt Larson played well also at corner. We had a few things where we weren't quite striking the way we needed to, especially in the first half. Up front on the D-line, that definitely improved. I felt in the second half, Jackson Johansson was around the ball quite often, and so we had some guys that stepped up, which was huge.
And then special teams, the third facet. I don't feel like we necessarily won special teams, but the efforts that you talked about offensively, the efforts that you talked about defensively, there was just some plays on special teams where I thought, the one that kind of was the funny bounce that got us.
Just unfortunate. And that set up their score. I mean, that was, we had held them, and that really was an unfortunate play because it set them up for a short field, and our defense had been on the field and had a stop, and then we couldn't get a stop, and that kind of gave them life, and that was unfortunate. But what are you going to do? It was just it was a weird kick.
Yep.
And Ryan was back there giving the scatter call. Could have maybe done a little earlier and a little louder, but there's nothing we can do. It just barely grazed our guy.
And then that was something I actually talked about during the game is when you're a guy blocking and you hear that scatter call, I think the immediate reaction is you run towards the sideline, right? But on a short high kick, and I guess more short than high, you don't even have the opportunity, and you don't know where that ball is falling.
And Amery made a change at punter just maybe a few weeks ago. They had number 7 was their punter. He was a right-footed punter, and the kid that punted, I think they went to him because he kicks a lot of kind of goofy balls. They're low, and he gets a good roll, and they're dangerous. Like for the return team, they're number 1. They're hard to field, but he seems like he's got a knack of kicking it kind of where guys are.
Right. So. And from perspective of anybody but the 22 guys on the field, you can look up, you can see the ball, you can see where the ball's going to land. The 10 guys that you have coming back to block, they don't know where the ball is.
They don't, but they got to hear that scatter call, and then they got to try to find the ball.
Right. And by then sometimes it's too late.
Yeah.
I think that's just it's a harder position to be in than what you recognize from being on the sideline.
Yeah, it seems like it should be easy to stay away from the ball.
Right. The other thing that I kind of chuckled at is Coy Hopke is a very good running back.
Yeah,
hard to take down. He's fast.
Yes.
Everything that you would want in a running back. And the amount of people yelling, tackle him. Like
it's easy.
There's nobody on the field that thinks,
you
know what, maybe I just won't. Like
right.
We want to tackle the guy, but
absolutely.
He's hard to tackle. He's impossible to tackle high.
Right. You hit him up high, you're going for a ride.
He's hard to tackle low. Right. I mean, he was hard to bring down, and really, I think one of the things that's been promoted for years is team pursuit and gang tackle, right? And if we aren't doing that, it's really hard to tackle.
You got to get everybody in the frame, run to the ball, and that's that makes up for a lot of sins. Pursuit solves a lot of problems.
So we get that out of the way Friday, feel good, get a win. JV plays Monday here, right?
Yep.
How'd that go?
Well, it went pretty well. We were really short, very, very short of numbers, specifically with running backs. I believe we had three running backs that had been playing JV available. So, and we had another player in Logan Gordon who was coming off an illness, and we weren't really sure of what his status was going to be. So we had Jackson Johansson, who hasn't played JV all year, but we needed a guy. It's like if you have an injury, it's not fair to the younger kids. This is their last game of the year. We need to have a guy that's going to go in there and they can play a little bit. And boy, it was fun to watch Jackson because he's a sophomore, and typically sophomores play JV. He's played more varsity snaps this year, but on Monday we put him in there, and boy, he was very impressive. I think there's some good things that come from that. Confidence goes through the roof. I mean, he was. It sounded different when he hit kids. Whether that was running the ball, he had a play on a kickoff, and the ball came flying out. I think the ball went about 15 yards in the air when he hit the kid. Jackson was really impressive. So that was good, and the whole team played well. Guys are fired up. I thought the offensive line. I thought that's the best that they had looked all year on the JV level. I mean, they were getting it. They were doing the scheme right, and the effort was there. And we had a number of kids. The freshman kids did a great job. They scored points, and it was a younger group for sure. But we had a few sophomores playing. So I was really. That's a great way to wrap up the season for the young guys.
We did win.
Yeah, we won 20 to nothing.
Okay.
So that was a lot of fun.
So now we're going into week 9, the last week of the season.
Yeah.
We get Somerset, who has a single conference win, which was over Viroqua in the crossover game. At this point in time, there's a lot of uncertainty as to how things are all going to shake out at the end of week 9. Obviously, 4 wins in the conference to guarantee the playoffs. A number of teams with 3 wins are going to get in. The Somerset win over Viroqua, I actually forgot about. That's going to help our potential tiebreaker thing moving forward. But looking at the Somerset Spartans as the opponent, what sticks out to you?
Well, they're completely different. We've seen Somerset and Coach Larson, for many, many years. And this year they're completely different, both offensively and defensively. They're running spread stuff on offense, a lot of stuff that came from Ferris State, and they're running their quarterback a bunch. And their quarterback's a good runner, but they run a ton of quarterback ISO, a double ISO where they're taking their sniffer and their back and just leading up through the hole, and that's what they like to do. That's their favorite run play. Not to say that they don't have other kids that are capable. Kid that plays running back 23 is a good player, and he can run the ball as well. They throw it pretty effectively. But being completely honest, it's not the most talented team that Somerset's had. I think they're young. They have some kids that are really good players. They just, they're a little short this year. But I will guarantee if you don't show up to play, they can freaking knock you around because they'll play hard. And so it's going to be a unique challenge. They're a little bit different defensively too than they have been. They played a defense that was quite similar to us for a number of years, and we're seeing a little bit of different stuff out of them this year. Who knows? Well, you never know what you're going to see, but definitely a different preparation week than most weeks getting ready to play those guys.
The one thing, having watched, if you watch the Ravens play Monday night, with Lamar Jackson running the ball as much as he did, the commentator says the one thing that really changes is typically a quarterback takes the ball and hands the ball off, and offenses play 10 on 11.
Right.
When the quarterback is your runner, now you're playing 11 on 11.
Yes, you are.
Which just changes a whole lot of things.
It's a unique challenge because they have another guy at the point of attack. When they lead that back through, it's like an extra guy. So we have to be ready for that, and we feel pretty good. I think one of the keys for us will be our defensive line needs to strike and maintain their gap, but they can't get up the field. And if we can stay at the line of scrimmage, I feel very confident that we're going to be in a good spot. So it's just up to our guys to get that done.
Now, when you say that, not get up the field.
Correct.
I mean, you're talking about your defensive linemen getting past the line of scrimmage into the opponent's backfield, right? We don't necessarily want them to get into the backfield, because if they get into the backfield, if you can imagine this, if we have a couple of guys here and we have another dude that's up the field here, that creates an alley for the running back or quarterback to go. So we just have to be disciplined. Yep. And I think the reason I bring that up is when you turn on the football game on TV, you see guys getting up the field making plays in the backfield, and you're like, hey, so you might watch a guy get past the blocker and think, hey, you've done this great thing.
There are times when you want to do that. There's in football there's certain calls,
right?
Where it might be a situation. Maybe you're expecting pullers, and you have a call so you can penetrate and mess up the pullers. So that might be a time when you want your guys to do it. But it's got to be coordinated, right? We can't have one guy that's doing his own thing. We need to have everybody doing the same thing. And, I think our kids understand the importance of that this week. I sure hope they do.
Yep. So, watching the game last week, we had some guys get dinged up. Moving into week 9, you even mentioned JV. We're a little dinged up.
Mm-hmm.
How do you feel about the overall health of the team?
Well, it's like this for everybody. You get to week 9 and you got bumps and bruises. You got some kids that are dinged up. And I expect that we're like a lot of teams at this point in the year, that you have some things that, you wish you had your full complement. We're hopeful that we're maybe going to get some people back here soon, but we're not quite there yet. So, hopefully we get in the playoffs and we get a chance to maybe get some more guys back.
Any final words before we sign off for week 9?
No, we're just grateful for the opportunity to play another game, and son of a gun, hopefully we can play like we're capable of playing, because I really do feel like I think our kids are understanding the approach that's necessary. I mean, it's a game of emotion, it's a game of attitude, and we've talked about with kids, be great where your feet are right now, right? Don't be looking and worrying about this or that, or worrying about playoffs. Be great for 6 seconds at a time. That play is the one that matters. And if you're thinking about other things, then you're losing focus. So we've given them a good dose of that this week, and hopefully that's going to translate to us being successful. And then maybe we can get fortunate and get a shot for a playoff bid. But if we can't, we control what we can control. And just play great against Somerset, and let the chips fall where they can.
All right. Well, good luck tomorrow night.
Thanks, Jeremy. I appreciate it.
And thanks for doing this again.
Yeah, you bet.